We're slaying monstrosities and transforming into something nasty. That's right, it's Aberration from Ghostfire Gaming. In this cooperative clash with abhorrent aberrations, 1 to 4 players take on the role of heroes, all trying to protect their village from the ravenous monsters emerging from the shadows. Over a series of rounds, they'll fight for their lives, battling monstrosities, unlocking valuable vantage points, and leveling up their skills. If any hero is defeated, time runs out, or the village is overcome with fear, the players lose the game. But if they can overcome their adversaries by completing objectives and securing the area, they'll score enough survival points to win the game. Setup begins with scenario selection. The scenario book offers options with various game lengths, complexities, and difficulties. Each entry has specifics for the map, aberrations, vantage point tokens, and victory conditions. During setup, consult the entry for the specific cards and tokens needed. Today, we're setting up the Claustrophobia scenario. First, place the map, which consists of 4 scenario-specific tiles, connected with a locking token. Place the compass tokens, starting with the north token on the top board and proceeding clockwise. Set the village center in the middle along with 4 villagers. Set the 8 vantage point tokens listed in the scenario onto their corresponding map spaces with their unsecured side up. Place a fire token on each map space with a fire icon. Next, set up the Great Beast board, placed nearby. Pull the Horde Aberration cards according to the chosen scenario. Each has a designated space, either 1, 2, or 3, and each comes in a stack of varied strength. Arrange them face up in descending order with level 1 on top and level 6 on bottom. Do the same on the Monstrosity Aberration cards on spaces 4 and 5. According to the scenario, remove cards to reveal the indicated aberration level of each, based on your chosen difficulty. Place the matching aberration standees nearby. Shuffle the transformation cards and place them face down on the board. Shuffle the Great Beast cards and place the designated number face down on the board, returning the rest to the box. Shuffle the shadow tokens and place them in face down stacks near the board. Then place a token on each space of the map with a shadow icon. Next, set up the village board. Place it nearby and set markers and the fear and survival tracks according to the scenario. These are the victory and defeat conditions for the game. Shuffle the objective cards into a face-down deck above the board and reveal the first card into the active objective slot. Shuffle the item cards into a face-down deck as well. Create a supply of dice, tokens, and villagers nearby. Finally, we have player setup. Each player chooses a color and takes the matching ability board, hero bag, and ring base. Then each player chooses a hero board and a class board, aligning them along the sides of the ability board. Hero boards have a name and species, wicked art behind a discard pool, a special ability box, and a held action space. Class boards have a class and a list of action options. On the back of both boards, a number of action chips are listed. Each player takes those indicated on their boards and adds them to their hero bag. Across all 3 boards along the bottom lies a health track. Place a marker on the leftmost space. Fill the ability board with action chips matching the row, noting that the middle command slot is a hero chip. Follow any further setup instructions on the back of boards, including placement of the hero miniatures after clipping the colored bases to them. Finally, choose 1 player to gain the first player token. Each player draws a starting hand of item cards depending on the player count. 3 cards in a solo game, 2 cards in a 2-player game, or 1 card in a 3 or 4-player game. Gameplay occurs in rounds, each divided into 3 turns. The village turn, the hero turn, and the Great Beast turn. First up in the village turn, any villagers assigned to vantage points are returned to the village center, and the first player token passes to the next player in clockwise order. In the first round of the game, the village turn is skipped because all your villagers are still in the center. Next, in the hero turn, starting with the first player, each hero takes an individual turn. On a turn, the player proceeds through 3 steps. Move an action chip, draw action chips, and take actions. In the first step, move an action chip. the player chooses the leftmost chip from any row on their ability board: Intellect, Strength, Speed, or Command. This chip is moved from the board into their hero bag. The space underneath the removed chip may contain a number, which is the new increased value of that ability. For instance, removing the Strength chip increases our strength from 2 to 3, which will have game effects later on. If the space instead says Item Card, draw an item card from the top of the deck. Next, in the Draw Action Chip step, the active player reaches into their bag and randomly, without looking, pulls a number of chips equal to their Intellect score. Each transformation chip drawn deals 1 damage to the hero, tracked on their health track. If a player's bag is ever empty when they need to draw, they refill their bag with action chips from their discard pool. Then, in the Take Action step, the player uses their chips to activate matching actions, each listed in bold on their class or hero board. They move that chip onto their discard pool and resolve the effect. Hero chips are wild and can act as any color. Gray actions with this multicolored wheel icon can be performed using any chip, including transformation chips. Additionally, instead of spending their action chip, a player may hold 1 chip for a later turn, placing it on the held action space of their hero board. Actions vary widely depending on class and hero, so we're not going to cover all of them individually. Actions allow heroes to move, attack, and take a variety of helpful actions on the board. Let's look at some of the major mechanics. Movement. When an action allows a hero to move, they may move a number of spaces on the map up to their speed ability score. The map's 4 boards feature numbered spaces where the hero can move, separated by white lines. Some maps feature hidden trails, which allow their connected spaces to act as adjacent for the purposes of movement. Attacks. These come in 2 types: melee, which can only target an aberration in the hero's same space, or ranged, which can target any aberration on the hero's entire map tile. Attacks either deal a fixed amount of damage or allow a player to roll a number of dice, dealing damage equal to the total amount rolled. 1 for a standard hit and 2 for a critical hit. Place damage tokens for each point of damage on the aberration. When the damage equals or exceeds their health, they are defeated and removed from the board. If a player defeats a monstrosity, gain the reward listed on the bottom of the monstrosity card. Assigning villagers. A hero's command action generally allows them to assign a villager from the village center, placing them in an open assignment location. The village center itself has 4 of these locations, but the vantage points on the map provide additional locations later in the game. Only 1 villager can occupy a location at a time. The shopkeeper allows the player to draw 1 item card. The torchbearer allows the player to place a fire token in a safe space on the map. Safe means it doesn't have an influence token, shadow token, or aberrations on it, and I'll explain what all that means shortly. And archers allow the hero to make a ranged attack, dealing 1 damage to an aberration on any adjacent map tile. In order to gain new locations, heroes must secure vantage points by occupying the space adjacent to that vantage point and spending the action chips listed on the top of the vantage point. They immediately gain 1 survival on the survival track and flip the token to its secured side, unlocking a new assignment location. These include a healer who removes damage, merchants for extra items, and lots more. Once all players have completed their turns, play moves to the Great Beast turn, where the aberrations approach the village center, attack heroes, and gather the darkness. Beginning with the north map tile and proceeding clockwise, find and activate each aberration, 1 at a time, on the lowest numbered space on that tile. If an aberration has the stun token on it, the token is removed and it skips activation for this turn. When activating, an aberration attacks the hero in its space. However, if no heroes are present, it moves 1 space toward the village center. If it moves into a space with a hero, it attacks that hero. Each aberration's card provides an attack value, the number of dice somebody has to roll for the aberration when it attacks, dealing damage to that hero. Move the player's health marker a number of spaces to the right equal to the damage. Many aberrations have additional traits like aggressive or regenerating, making them more dangerous or harder to defeat. Once all aberrations on the map have completed their activations, it's time to advance shadows. Beginning with the north tile again, advance each shadow token one at a time, starting with the one in the lowest numbered space of the tile. Advancing moves the shadow one space towards the village center. Shadows represent looming, unknown threats. When they enter or are placed in a space with a hero, or a fire token, or if they reach the village center, they are revealed. Flip the token and resolve its listed effect, which might include adding a villager to the village center, very nice, adding an aberration to the map, less nice, or maybe even multiple aberrations in a 3 or 4 player game, or other text effects like adding influence tokens, dealing damage to heroes, and more. When placing aberrations from a shadow token, if no standees of that aberration type remain, activate each listed aberration on the map instead. If a horde monster ever reaches the village center, gain 1 fear. If it's a monstrosity or a shadow token, gain 2 fear instead. Finally, the last step of the Great Beast's turn is to draw the top card of the Great Beast deck. If you cannot draw because the deck is empty, the heroes lose the game. Great Beast cards have a number of effects. First, they increase one aberration's level on the Great Beast board. Then resolve the event text. Then spawn shadows. Start from the compass point indicated on the card and move clockwise, placing a shadow token on the outermost space of each path that is not occupied by an influence token until you've placed enough shadows to satisfy the card's requirements. Shadows will reveal immediately if they meet the reveal criteria mentioned earlier. On future turns, if a hero ends their movement in a space with a shadow token, that shadow is revealed. Shadows will reveal immediately if they ever meet the reveal criteria we mentioned earlier. On future turns, if a hero ends their movement in a space with a shadow token, that shadow token is revealed. This only occurs if the hero ends their movement. Effects that move them into the space don't trigger the shadow's reveal. Once the shadows have been placed, the Great Beast turn ends and a new round begins. And that's the flow of gameplay. But here's a few more important concepts you'll want to understand. Influence. When an influence token is placed on the map by a game effect, it goes on the highest numbered space on that map tile. The space is effectively destroyed. No hero or aberration can enter it, and tokens cannot be placed there. If a space connected to a vantage point gains influence, that vantage point is removed from the game, and the players gain 1 fear. If any map tile is filled with influence tokens, the players lose the game! Oh no! Item cards. Items represent useful equipment that your hero can employ to gain an immediate benefit. Each item card has 2 uses. The first is its benefit, shown in the large box. This effect can only be played by the current player during their turn. The second use of an item card is its exploit effect, seen in the colored strip across the bottom of the card, which may be played during any player's turn. Player health. When taking damage, if the health marker hits or passes a red transformation space, the player immediately draws and keeps a transformation card. These cards endow a hero with a grotesque mutation, providing a boon, either an ongoing effect or a new action option for their transformation chips, and often a flaw, an immediate negative effect, like increased fear for the hero's new hideous appearance. Objectives. In addition to securing vantage points, the active objective card above the village board provides an opportunity to gain survival, which is the only route to victory for the players. Only one objective card is available at a time, but a player may take the refocus action on their turn, spending an intellect chip to draw a new objective card covering up the present one. Play continues with heroes smashing aberrations, monsters scaring the village, and influence slowly creeping toward doom. If any of the following conditions occur, the players lose. The fear track reaches its endpoint. A map tile is completely filled with influence tokens. A hero is defeated, or if players cannot draw a Great Beast card during its turn. However, if players can bring the marker on the survival track to the victory space, they win the game. And that's the basics of Aberration. I'm Becca Scott. This is Good Time Society, where everything is fine. There's no aberrations. The shadows aren't creeping in. Or are they? Because I saw this thing over here. It was moving and came, and I think it's coming for me, and I think it's a shadow that... Everything is fine now. Everything is fine now. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and come on back for more great games and good times. Bye-bye.